because I'm ready to talk, man.
Well, we are live. Welcome, everybody, to the 5 o'clock shadow. We have Chris and Diane with us, although it doesn't look like Chris is there. Although I hear
Oh,
him.
I killed my camera. Yeah, hang on. I'll bring it back.
We will be talking, of course, about their campaign on Fund My Comics of Cyclopean 5. Ooh. I don't. Nobody else is going to be able to hear it, but you have some. I can hear like your fan or something. You have static coming across, Chris.
Is that me or you?
That's you as far as I know, because
Did it stop now?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was weird because I heard it too. I
I'm
think
just,
YouTube was surging on my thing.
and I'm just sharing this out before we get into too much because need to share.
I shared it with all 50 of my followers or whatever it is on Twitter. I am not a success on social media right now. So any of Rick's listeners, we are always welcoming followers.
Yeah.
I'm at 40 followers. Forgive me, not 50.
Oh yeah, my Discord, and I'll put it in my Discord here. General. There. I'm just quickly gonna see.
See, my camera's off.
Oh, that was you, Chris, saying which room.
I'm messing around.
Okay, let's make sure everybody can see everything. Yes, everybody can see everything. It's amazing. So how are you guys today?
Yeah, wonderful.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely excited.
Yeah, so you guys have been doing a 20-day campaign. You're on what? This is day 19. You've gotten over $1,000 already of $100, $100 stretch, $100 goal, I should say.
Yeah. So actually it was 21 days. We set up for $100. Frank and honest with everybody watching, my confidence was at a low. We had a failed campaign, and everybody who's done this has gone through this at least once. We had maybe not everybody, but EVS aside.
Well, a few of the bigger names aside, yeah.
Right. So I had a bit of confidence lag, so we put $100 in as far as the goal, knowing we could make it. We work in print on demand, so anything ordered, we can definitely, $100 won't kill the production.
Right.
Yeah.
And we were stunned. I'm sorry, we were stunned by the support we got from New Hampshire in particular. Canada was sweet too. Thank you, Rick. But New Hampshire really stunned us. We have a lot more fans up there than we realized, and now we just have to figure out how to service them.
Service them?
Yes, as entertainment providers.
I'm bad.
I'm actually in the process of developing a few things. I know it sounded weird. I know. I'm trying to roll with it, but
yeah.
We want to be able to keep them happy.
And for those that don't know, Chris and Diana, of course, are a two-person team. Although Chris does the writing, the drawing, and Diana, of course, tries to keep them in line and does the editing. Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Although it can be hard to probably keep him in line at times, eh?
It is. Yeah, it can
sometimes she wakes up sometimes in the morning and everything has changed. Like she'll sit down and I'll be like, there's like 4 new pages in the middle of the book because I added something. And she's like, what? And I'm like, you'll have to wait and see till Sunday. Because Sunday is our traditional reading day. But for instance, this happened this morning. I'm working on issue 6. I've got 19 pages really almost done. And I decided I had to add some character reinforcements back in an engagement that happened on page 14. Mm-hmm. So poor Diana has read this, and all of a sudden she's like, what? And I'm like, I've added some stuff here. Just wait and see.
Just a little.
But, when you're reading, you're reading something and you realize it's not flowing quite the way you want it to, that's the time to fix it. You can go back in and just push it around a little.
Yeah, obviously, yeah, I know that. So for those that don't know, you guys have been on here before, and I've interviewed you about books before. What I'll go with Chris first. What got you into comics?
Being poor. Quite honestly, my mother was a single white 70s mom, and the comics I actually got first were the Sunday Funnies, which were at that time cut just like a comic book, folded, stapled, and it was all the Sunday comics in a comic book. And I collected those religiously. Now, occasionally I would get a 3-pack. They'd have 3 for $1. I get those, and those would be at the top of my collection. But 90% of it were these newsprint Fun Day Sunnies,
Right.
Sundays, or however they pronounced it. When Mom came out of that deep depressive boredom, and I started having allowances and earning stuff around the house, that's when I started buying. And at that time, I was 99% Marvel and maybe 1% DC. I would get the occasional Batman or Flash or Superman.
Yeah.
But that was about it. I didn't get... And Booster Gold. I was into Booster Gold.
Cool. And for...
that's what got me in. It was just entertainment.
Cool. And Diana, you?
So what got me into comics would be Christopher. His desire to get to just draw, to, I guess, reignite his desire for drawing. And he said, I want to make a comic book. And I said, okay, do it. Prior to that, my experience with comics, obviously I knew what a comic book was. I've seen them, but I never really read them. It wasn't my go-to reading. I just didn't. I read different kinds of novels and with words and no pictures. But anyway, it's been a fun journey. I now can officially say that I know how to read a comic. I know how to edit a comic. And I think my skills for the other components and other elements that comic books need, it's growing. I am learning. I'm watching a lot of videos. I'm reading up on like how layouts work and and all of that stuff. So it will help Chris a little bit more. But that is where I got my beginning from Christopher, actually.
Okay. And I guess that ends up sort of leading into another question for Chris. What got you wanting to make your own comic books?
That was always there. I don't know what got me to do it. Diana and I have talked about this because it's kind of a trip. I can remember being 6 years old.
Hold on a sec, Chris. Whichever image you just put up is not you talking. It's just you frozen there.
Oh, I know. I'm messing with it. Look, okay, there I am.
Okay.
I did that so if I shut off the camera. Yeah.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure. Sorry.
No, so when I was maybe 5 years old, I remember sitting there with my brother, and I would get a sheet of paper, which I tore out of a novel because my mom didn't own paper. We had to tear it, like the blank pages out of the back of novels. And I would draw like 2 kings in a castle, and my brother and I would tell a story, and I would continually draw on it until we couldn't draw anymore, and we would have these 2 kings fight. And from that, it kind of progressed to eventually we were emulating John Romita Sr. out of the Spider-Man Sunday Funnies. Okay. And of course, eventually I was copying comics. And it was just I had talent. I knew, like, naturally how to draw certain things. And then it was just a love of, the grind. Because I've never been gifted to the point of, like, being a John Byrne, a Todd McFarlane, a Jim Lee.
Yeah.
But I know if I grind at it, I can make myself better. And that's what it's been about. Yeah. That's what it's always been about.
So, how did, I guess, the Great Cyclopean as a character come about?
He's funny because in my childhood, we had created, myself and 3 friends, a group that we were a group in real life, and I created like comics about us where we were superheroes. And Cyclopean was originally the villain. he was a furry, brown, furry, one-eyed alien, and he had all sorts of stupid powers, eye beams, and invincibility and flying. You know, anything I needed to cause the Titans of Justice issues, because that was the name of the group. And so when I started working on a book in my latter years, the first one I tried to do was different. It was about Santa Claus, and I was messing around with it, and it wasn't clicking, but I was kind of working it out, you know. And then I wanted to do a character, and Cyclopean kept coming to mind, and so I started re-envisioning him. I got rid of the fur. He looked stupid as a white guy, so I made him a black guy, and he just started coming together. Really, his complexion as a white guy with one eye didn't look right. He needs the color to make it really work. And through that, like, I've written a lot of heart into him, like, because he's for kids. In general, like, not toddlers, but, you know, for younger readers, I've tried to make what he's experiencing important. So the emotional, I won't say trauma or distress, but the emotional journey that he goes through is really a primary focus. It's all about him dealing with the real world in a situation that nobody can avoid, you know. And we all feel that way about our own insecurities, our own weaknesses.
Yeah.
But his is so obvious, you know. It's like you can't hide the one-eyed man.
Yeah. Especially when it's a big eye. And hello, JR. How are you? So now you're on to like Cyclopean 5. Wow. Big way to get there. So what's gone on? Maybe, you know, is this a good jumping on point for people? You know, should they get well, obviously you're gonna say should they get, if I say should they get the other books, is it important to read the other books before this one?
Well, it depends on how you feel about a long story arc. There is a long story arc happening. In issue 5, Queen Sting, who is the villain in issue 3, is taken out, and there is a development there. But essentially, issue 5 is a buildup of Cyclopean's teen angst and him basically getting into a disagreement with Captain Aura. And issue 6 is actually a thrill ride, which I'm almost done, but issue 5 is the buildup. By the end of it, you're not going to get a complete ending, so I might as well be honest with you. It's a cliffhanger into issue 6. And
so it's a two-part story.
Issue 6 is definitely, because issue 6 is basically, so far out of the 19 pages, 16 of them are battle. And it's really my work at choreographing a truly awesome battle with fun dialogue, and you're not going to see a lot of blood or gore or anything. What you are going to see is truly exciting, funny fighting between a guy who's basically invincible and a guy who can't be stopped. And I'm looking forward to it because it's teacher versus student, it's human versus alien, it's technology versus natural power, and all I can say is it's a ton of fun. Issue 5 is essential to read before 6. And you're right. I would tell you read the whole thing.
Right.
But you can't read the whole thing. 5 is a great place to start.
Yeah, obviously I said you're going to tell people to read the whole thing because it's your comic. You want them to buy it all and get it all, you know, especially if they have it. Yeah, and I get that very much. And if the chat has any questions or whatever. Yeah. Now, you mentioned the character Captain Aura. Has he been in the comics before? Or what's his... Well, obviously he's sort of the villain of the issue, with you saying he's fighting Cyclopean. Is he a villain? Who is he? Without giving too much away, of course.
Well, here's a multi-layered answer, which is kind of surprising, but we'll share it with Tony's approval. Captain Aura is one of the original characters, one of the heroes that I drew as a child. and he was based on one of my friends, and he fought Cyclopean as a villain in those books. So in this book, if you notice in Cyclopean, well, if you read Cyclopean 1, you'll notice that Tony appears from the very beginning.
Okay.
And he's throughout the whole story. He comes in as basically hired help and ends up becoming like the life coach. Part of his resume, though, is that he was Captain Aura. He's a retired superhero agent of the government, and he still has the suit and it still works, but in issue 6 you're going to find out that, you know, technology from the 80s, well, you know, it's got some issues.
Yeah, it degrades.
Nevertheless,
technology degrades a little over time.
yeah, and even if you keep it up to par, like, you know, maintain it, it's not going to have the upgrades that the modern. There's a reason that they put ships in graveyards.
Hello, Captain Infinity. And sorry, I'm not asking so many questions of you, Diana.
What's that?
I just said sorry, I'm not asking so many questions of you. Of course.
Oh no, that's fine. That's fine.
I have one for her. I can interview her a little bit. Can I help?
If you want.
Let me interview 1 second. Watch this. So, Diana, can you tell us a little bit about your hobby side of Cyclopean? There's been some projects.
Yes. So I decided that we need to have a Cyclopean plush. Looked at the different patterns that are online. I do sew. I'm not a seamstress. I'm not a professional sewer, but I love sewing. And I came up with a ragdoll type of Cyclopean. And he's really cute. And I know that Chris likes them, but Chris is a little biased.
Hey,
and so
I have seen them, and I like them too.
You like them too? Okay, there you go.
So, do you have any close by to maybe show off? Oh, Chris does.
Yeah.
He's got two of them.
Those are not the. Those are the older ones. Let's see if I.
That's what, version 1 and 2. What version are you on now?
No.
Is that 10?
This is actually last year's version.
Yeah.
Yeah, which
And
is
then-
what,
This
version
is
1?
one of the newer.
Yeah.
Yeah, this would be version 1.
What?
Actually, there was a bigger one before this too.
It's in
Okay,
the.
so I guess that's version 2 then.
It's Chris. The new ones that we had at the show this past weekend are all in the tote, the pink tote.
Oh,
Yeah, I don't have them down here. So we brought them to the show. We were at Plastic City Comic Con. And I'm not selling them per se. I mean, if somebody really wanted to buy them, it's, you know, pretty inexpensive, $5, just to covers the fabric. Because I'm still perfecting my design. These came out rather cute. I got a lot of really good feedback, but I'm a perfectionist, and I personally am not, like, it's not like, hey, this is what I did, buy them because they're amazing. There's still room for design. Look at him all in his hand. That's so funny. And so I want to make it bigger. So I want to make show the latest one that I've done.
I'm getting there.
Cute. They are very cute. So that is that the latest one? Yes. That's
One
the
of them.
latest one. It's a ragdoll type of design. I'm going to make button arms instead so the arms can move. Rather than just having a plush. So I'm going to make different designs. One is going to be quite large, like a pillow, so you can like rest your head on it if you wanted to. The other one that is holding is a ragdoll, a modified ragdoll pattern. Also, we'll be doing embroidery for the C, and yes, the emblem, and for his eye will be embroidered as well. But he's coming along. He's got, I think that one had the cape. I did get, so we used our wheel. We have this wheel when we go to cons. I did use it. I did change it a little bit where I asked for, you could spin the wheel if you basically bought something, and the cheapest thing on the table was a $2 metal card. So there were a bunch of people that bought metal cards and they got to spin the wheel. Two of them won a Cyclopean doll, and they were so excited about it. And I said, listen, it still needs work. It's not my final design, but they were very happy. And me feel a little more included. I mean, as the editor, it's a very important job what I do. Reading and listening to the story and giving feedback to Chris. But I also am creative, and I just wanted to be able to show.
Well, as I know, you do one of the other big jobs too that Chris doesn't like to do so much, and that's the promotion.
Right.
Yeah, you try and book most of your shows like this, and of course you book all the cons and all that, and say, Chris, come on, we're going to a con. And he's like, no!
He's terrible. He's getting better, but he's definitely, yeah.
And then you're like, Chris, no, you can't give that away.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
I am very guilty of that one.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to try something here.
Right.
So I'm looking for something. Hang on.
Well, I was also, before we start down this one, I was going to ask Chris, what are like Captain Aura's powers, compared to Cyclopean? And that's something I guess people should know too. What are Cyclopean's powers?
Well, Cyclopean's powers are actually listed in the video. 5 things you should know about Cyclopean. However, basically he lifts about 20 tons. He has limited invulnerability based on his perception of what's happening around him. For instance, you can inject him with a hypodermic needle, even though he can repel a 50 caliber bullet. And the way that happens is if he's aware of the bullet coming, his body tenses and it becomes invulnerable. If he isn't aware, it's rather normal. And so when doctors have wanted to give him a shot, he's well aware that it's coming, and he looks away and he relaxes, and in that way his arm becomes capable of being pierced. He can touch animals of lower intelligence, and not intelligence, but lower biological build, I guess is a better way to put it. And he can then have like an empathic, telekinetic, or telepathic connection with them. Such a thing happened when he was fighting the big octopus. He made skin contact with it and became instantly aware of what it was feeling, and really how he could diffuse the situation without killing it.
Yeah.
Captain Aura is wearing a government suit that actually works on the energy aura that is around each of us. However, his suit is tuned to him, and he's highly trained in using it. And what the suit does is it takes that aura and it creates a field of invulnerability, like a force field. But he is able to shoot force bolts from his wrists, and he can expand or tighten the aura to do different things. For instance, when he runs through the swamp, he expands the aura around his feet, and he never actually touches the ground, so it appears as if he's running on water, even though he's actually running on force field.
Yeah.
It's not so powerful to the point where he could fly. He could shoot like a blast down and launch himself into the air, and then land very hard and not feel it because of the force field.
Right.
So the limitation on his power, he does drain, and there are other ways to get through the aura, because obviously light and sound waves get through the aura, as do radio waves. So it's not a catch-all, because there are ways to get to him. But essentially, it gives him a physical heads up of a physical strength,
And again, if anybody in the chat has a question for Chris or Diana, feel free to ask, and I will get to it after they're done answering a question that I might have asked, or somebody else might have asked. Although I think I'm quickly running out of questions.
Well, be fully aware that if you ask one, I am likely to never stop talking. So. I'm trying right now to be quiet.
You've alluded to a 6th book that you've are in the middle of, and it probably is almost done. So beyond the 6th book, what are your plans for Cyclopean, or just for Hero Shack?
Well, for Cyclopean, he's going to be venturing forth into New Hampshire, trying to escape a pursuing government force called Team Zenith. They are the top team in the government, and they're trained to handle nuclear responses, disaster crises, and superhero difficulties. They're trained to handle someone like Cyclopean. As far as Hero Shack goes, we are looking at an October re-release of Trolls for Halloween on another short-term based campaign. We have some typo books left over, and I think I'd like to try to sell them in a 2-for-1 deal for people who didn't get a typo book but might want one as a collector's item. It's still there, but at the same time they can get a proper book as well. Beyond that, we have, of course, Cyclopean is planned out through issue 12, and Diana may or may not want to reveal some of the things she's got cooking.
Okay, just before Diana does, you say a typo book. What do you mean by that?
So, Trolls Exposed, one of our greatest books of all time, actually had went to the press. The wrong copy went to the press, and we received books full of typos, and we sent them out. And in our zeal, we got online shortly after receiving them and started doing a read through. And Diana and I were noticing typos that we knew had been fixed were still there.
Yeah.
So to fix that, we sent out corrected books to the backers. But now we still have some of the old stock of the typo books, and I could either destroy them or sell them as a 2-for-1 with a good book, and get rid of them and just pass them on, because I don't necessarily feel shame about that. That's like a chapter in our career, and I'm actually pretty proud of how we dealt with it.
Yeah. Okay, so now...
And also, there's a really cool guy in there named Rick, so
yeah,
I'd like to,
hopefully I'll be able to get some of those off of you if you've got any left when I get down there in October.
Well, we will
because I'd like to sell them at some cons myself.
We could work something out. We do stock for all our shows. This last one, we only brought Cyclopean and Trolls, mostly because we wanted to focus our library, our shelf. We wanted it to be very focused.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, we have Man Guy, we have Cluster Fudge, we have Last of the Reapers. You start putting all that in there, and your character can get lost.
Yeah. And hello, Mike. Mike Walters is here and saying he's dropping a like, a share, and saying hi. Well, thank you very much. Okay, so I guess we'll go on to Diana.
Niche News.
Yes, and I guess we'll go on to Diana and see whether she wants to reveal anything about maybe some projects she has coming up for Hero Shack. That doesn't involve just her editing.
Right. Well, thank you. So I have 3 different projects on the burner that are cooking. Like I like to put it like that because they're not ready for release. I do have one short story that involves Ingrid. That's the name of the character, and she is from the Trolls short story. I'm taking that. I think I'm going to do 2 versions. I actually have 2 versions of it. One is going to be geared more towards teens. Probably 10 to 13 tweens, I should say. And the other one, I want to take the short story that was in the Trolls book. I want to expand on that because it's not a short story. It was a 10-page comic that we had to get in, and I didn't really get a chance to go into depth about.
Yeah, well, it's still a short story of types, but it's not the same short story that you want it to present.
Right, because I leave a lot out. So I am working on that, and then I have a book of poetry that I've been working on putting together, and that will be coming out too. My goal is to have at least one of them out by January. I'm probably going to do a crowdfunding campaign, probably on Fund My Comic. We'll see how that goes. But that's what I've been working on, along with making bling for the Great Cyclopean. It's fun. I'm enjoying myself very much.
That's good. And now you were saying, Chris was saying a little earlier that you guys had come off a failed campaign. That was Manga, if I remember correctly. Any plans to do anything with that property in the future, or any other characters or properties that you have?
Yeah, I didn't know if you were asking me. Yes.
Well, either one.
Four different things. We talked about putting it on Webtoons, and we also talked about possibly including it into some of the Great Cyclopean issues. But I don't think we have narrowed down exactly what we're going to do. But Chris can probably speak a little bit more on that. I don't really know. Christopher?
You're muted, Chris.
You're muted.
Yeah, I think right now we're leaning towards probably slicing up the stories into 6-page events and including them in as backup stories in the Great Cyclopean as that series progresses. With the idea of now we could tell the story of Manguy in the back of a Cyclopean book, and then by the time that's done, we might be able to actually have a successful campaign with them. But if not, we'll see. But that's where I'm leaning. I think it would be better to give more content to the flagship book than to try to splinter off with another one at this point.
Right.
Sounds good.
And yeah, we're really focusing on the Great Cyclopean at this point.
Yeah. And he's a good character. I've told you in the past that he's your main character.
You have, and we had a moment that was really mind blowing to me, even though it seems like innocuous to everybody else, I bet. But Keith Gleason, creator of the Mighty Mascots, we were at a show with him, and I was telling him about Manguy, and I said I really want to have like a manga type character, someone that has an anime flavor. And he looked at me back then and he said, "Isn't that what Cyclopean is?" And I was like, "Not really, but yeah, like he's weird like a Japanese character. I can get it that way, like One Punch Man, Chainsaw Man, like he's got that kind of weird flavor to him." So all of a sudden I found my whole mindset start to turn, and I was like, Cyclopean is crazy enough to be like the guy I want him to be. Like he could be that guy. So he's won back my excitement. I become a little stale, and not anymore. I'm feeling it. It's like, thank you.
So with it being in the back, if it goes in the back of the Cyclopean books, any thing on a crossover between the two properties?
Absolutely, because ultimately they are in the same universe, and a lot of the things that Cyclopean will face are going to be huge creatures. Like there is a point in the story where he's going to fight a huge alligator. We're talking like probably 30 feet long, maybe 40 feet, right? Mm-hmm. This is a creature from the Master Manipulator who appeared in issue 2 alongside Forevertron, and this is his take on trying to get at Cyclopean. But the point being, every time he fights a large creature, eventually Manguy, who has himself a giant robot, is eventually going to step in and try to help, which of course is going to be fun because then Cyclopean gets to meet Manguy Yoshokin. But that's the plan.
Yeah, and as I asked about, say other characters like you said, Captain Aura, he used to be like a good guy and all that. Are any plans to use him or any of the other superheroes that you've introduced in Cyclopean to get maybe their own properties or books?
If we're blessed by God to have outrageous success, 5-6 figure issues, I will definitely hire freelancers to get out other character stories. As a independent creator who's doing it all myself, I imagine I'm going to be focusing mostly on tying everything through Cyclopean. There are a couple of loose string projects out there that I want to finish eventually, but I may never. You know, like there's
Yeah.
Cluster Fudge. I might never revisit that. I might let it go. It's not like we have hundreds of people that want a book. You know, there were a
Yeah.
dozen, 2 dozen.
Yeah,
So
nobody
it's not
breaking
like,
down your door for it.
right. So it's not like if we abandon it, it's the end of the world.
Yeah.
With that said, though, I would love to revisit it someday.
Yeah, just
But
maybe
with the current
finish it off.
characters,
I think personally, I think the story needs to end. I think we need to tie up the loose ends. And I know it's not on your mind right now because you are very focused on the Great Cyclopean, which you should be, because that is, notice that is like our big breadwinner, so to
Yeah.
speak.
Yeah.
You know, it can sit on the shelf for another year. It doesn't matter. But I think
Yeah.
at some point,
Right.
I would encourage you
Yeah.
to try and finish it up so it can be done.
Yeah. Well, maybe
well, I
when
do
you
know this.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Chris.
Well, all I was going to say is there is a character called Violet Vamp who is part of the UFO who is coming into Cyclopean's universe soon. And Violet Vamp is actually the little black girl in Cluster Fudge that
Yeah.
Cluster saves in the parade and
Right.
has a blood transfusion accidentally with.
Yeah.
And then weirdly enough, She-Hulk did the same thing. Just saying.
Yeah.
I wrote it first, and then She-Hulk accidentally got blood. Oh, that was my idea first. I'm just
Well,
saying.
actually, Bruce Banner did have blood transfusion a little bit differently, actual needle and all that, with her in the comics for her to get her powers. So
Yes.
not
Yes.
just a brief touch over like that. I don't think anything like what happened would happen in the comics. At least not as long lasting, you know.
I had the same doubts, but since I used the same story thing, I'm like, they just stole my idea. They didn't steal my idea. Don't anybody walk away with that. But you know how it is when you come
Yeah.
up with something and you're like, oh, that guy's smart because I thought of that too.
Yeah. I was gonna say something about. Oh, no, I was gonna say. I know, the thing is, just with Cluster Fudge, if you've got the story written, the last part of it, you could probably just work on it a page every so often, like you were doing the thing last night on the whatchamacallit, on the art stream, the draw stream. Because if it takes you a year to do it, and then you just do a campaign to put it out, you know, then it's not monopolizing your time, because like you said, you like to take breaks every so often from Cyclopean just for a day or two or whatever.
Yep. That's an idea. I don't know if it works though.
Yeah.
Well, that's probably what I will do. Alongside, like when Diana was talking about her poetry book, I was thinking I should probably draw some of that. But like, I need little things. Like after 4 or 5 pages, it's good to do something off the book, just a page of, you know. And yesterday was kind of funny because I woke up, I knew the draw stream was coming. I just started doing a morning sketch, and I was like, I'm just going to finish this. Now I still have a ton to finish, but I'll probably do it next stream, if not, you know, sometime. But like now I have a project there that I can turn to and kill a half hour to an hour if I just don't want to do a book.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. So with that, we're gonna go over to the actual book. Finally getting there. Let's see.
I'm terrible because I forgot that we were even talking about the book. I was just so into the character. $1,032, people! I am so excited. Thank you.
Okay, so I'm just trying to make sure you got everything's coming up there. Okay, it looks like everything's coming up. Well, I guess the most important thing is that people can see the thing. And let me just also pop out the chat while we're going through this, just in case anybody has any questions. Not that anybody's asked any questions yet.
Let's see, where'd my window go? I lost the pop-up window. There it is.
Okay, there we go. And so you guys are $1,032 with 22 backers so far. Hopefully you can get a backer or two here, and you're closing out tomorrow night sometime, probably around. You probably won't be going till it closes, but it probably close around. Well, it says here, I think.
Okay.
No, we're
Well,
going to midnight. It's a midnight close. Remember, it was a midnight opening.
yeah, yeah. Well, 9 o'clock. Yeah, tomorrow night.
9 o'clock West is going to be midnight here. And even if Diana doesn't make it, I plan on streaming, 8:30 pre-show, 9 o'clock through midnight. And we might pepper in some videos, some commercials. I don't know. Depends on how tired we get, but
Yeah,
we're here for the duration. So you'll notice we have a stretch goal now of $1,105.
yeah,
Very reachable, but we're doing that because the goal was Diana was trying to make the last jump to 1,000, and supporters in New Hampshire pushed us past that.
yeah,
So we still want to have a finish line. So we're
Yeah.
putting that up to see if we can hit it. And if we hit it before we go to the show, we'll put another small one up. But
Mhm.
yeah, we're trying to have fun.
Okay. So, The Great Cyclopean, Issue 5, America's greatest one-eyed deaf-mute alien superhero is back, and he's facing his greatest opponent yet, the man who taught him how to fight.
Mhm.
Okay,
And as cliche as it sounds, it's fresh as can be.
yes. And this is All or Nothing, and of course you reached your goal some time ago. So is it going to go in demand? I think they have some sort of in demand type feature. Like, are you going to keep it up afterwards? Or are you just going to close it down, have it be closed down completely?
I honestly want to close it down because the part of the draw for 6, in my opinion, the draw for the next issue is always like, hey, and you can do catch-up issues. And we do have to consider, like this time we just did the whole 1 through 5 if you want to, 1 through 4 if you want to catch up. But now we might be able to, like, next campaign, offer each issue in a separate reward, or
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, well, there's
And
a
then
way to
if
do
somebody
it.
wants,
There's a way to do it for offering. If you're offering one that they can choose which one they want, maybe they're only missing one, and you can probably do that where they can choose, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, 2, 3, 4, 5.
you know how they have the drop down with the sizes
Yeah.
for the shirts? I bet you there's a way to incorporate something like that. If not now, there could be in the future.
Oh yeah.
But yeah,
There is something like that. Well, I did a campaign early on here, and I use that sort of thing too for like I did a digital choice, right, for Snowdrift and Canadian Shield too. So it's like, which one do you want? you know,
right.
They could
And
pick.
we've taken the approach of a $5 PDF, and I think we will likely do that for the rest of the Cyclopean career, which will be cool because what I want to do is basically have it be a one time. It's basically a way to get a $5 donation and then just give them access to the entire digital library.
Yeah.
And the whole idea there is maybe you'll read the books digitally and love them so much you're going to want the paper, and you got the plushie when that comes out, and all that stuff. The hope is just the word of mouth and marketing.
Yeah, I know. That was sort of my way with Cyclopean. Obviously, we exchanged, some comics for some comics, and then, I went and on your next campaign, I got, number 1 and 2, I think it was. They were good enough.
It's funny. You're one of those. You're one of those guys where it's like we kind of like back each other, and I don't. It's like an unspoken thing, but it's like beautiful because, like, I love backing other people. I love getting backed. I love promoting, and when I can afford to do it, it's great. And when you can't afford to do it, guys, all you got to do is like and share. That's the biggest,
Yeah. What was that? Chew.
There are 4 people watching right now, and our chat is dead. What do we got to do here?
I don't know. Well, at least there
I'm
are
gonna take
people
my shirt
watching.
off.
Well, Well, I was going to say they can't see that, but they can. It's at the bottom of the screen. It's really tiny. Of course, up big is the window with all the stuff in. So here's some of the artwork on the one side that you're seeing. We're seeing Captain Aura there, I believe. He's the guy in white.
Yep. That's right.
It'd be interesting, him versus... Well, actually, maybe not that interesting. Canadian Shield would probably take him up pretty fast.
I was going to say, as far as powers go, Canadian Shield would certainly have the edge. Captain's only hope would be it could pull any sort of experience move, but we all know how those eventually end anyways. You know, you dodge a couple of blows, eventually you get tackled.
Yeah, and well, even the experience moves that he might do, I don't think they would do much harm, if any, to Canadian Shield.
Oh yeah, no, it's more he
might be as annoying as a fly, the Canadian Shield.
Well,
Just
at one point he's very much that way with Cyclopean at one point. Cyclopean, who's much younger than Shield, of course, Canadian Shield.
Mm-hmm.
He takes a swipe at him, and he should have nailed him, and Captain Aura uses a little judo to sidestep it and make him fall over, and it's just pure frustration for Cyclopean. He's like, "Arr!"
Yeah.
And I actually enjoy stuff like that. That's part of the fun with Cyclopean, because in his universe, he's only lifting about 20 tons, but that's huge in his universe. There are no Hulks of 100+ tons, you know? Or at least not yet. And so he's considered very, very superhuman. Mm-hmm. And so he should be destroying Captain, and Captain's like, dude, I know how to duck a punch. You got to do better than that.
Yeah. Yeah, well, he's also had some training. He's had his powers for a while, depending on when Captain Canadian Shield would face him. Canadian Shield's, just got his powers, so, with the suit in my comics, so, although he has maybe not the sort of training that Captain Aura would have, because, he's back, 200 years, he learned to fight, get his wilderness, go to the wilderness to get his food and all that, so.
Well, he's Native American, too. They have, like, their own superpower. Like, when they're on the American continent, and this is just my legendary mind, I figure when they're on North American soil, they are more powerful than, like, if you flew them over to Australia. Like, they are truly, like, more nature-oriented.
Yeah, well, they know the land better, so, you put them in a land that they know the land better, yeah, they're going to have a little bit more of an advantage. But, they'd still have
I would argue the land knows them better. I would argue the land likes them more. Like, I would say if North America as a land had a choice, they'd be like, yo, we'd rather have those Indians back, because, like, all they did was live here. They didn't, like, build these asphalt roads and strap us with electric lines, and
Yeah.
I mean, it's great for us, but if I was a continent, I'd be complaining. I'd be writing my senator.
Yeah, but
get these humans off my back.
But they warred a lot more with each other too, and spilled a lot of blood, I think.
Yes.
Not that lots of blood doesn't get spilled over other reasons, in Canada and the States, But
they were more raw, yeah.
But my sketchbook is here, and he says, "I already have my shirt off, though." I guess he's joking about you saying that, or him. And
yeah, he is. I do have a Thundercats shirt on tonight. I am so happy with the Thundercats.
So, you've gotten, obviously, to the 250 bookmark thing, which is cool. The $500 metal exclusive card, which has a picture of Cyclopean. And you guys have a variant cover.
Yeah.
And it looks like I guess you got to the 1000 limited 4x6 metal print of the Captain Aura variant cover. Ooh, that sounds nice. Jeez.
Now let me explain something to the backers. The $1,000 was not supposed to be achieved until tomorrow night. Diana has been working her tail off. She thinks she could have gotten there. She has people planning on backing it. And people in New Hampshire who know Captain Aura went and got us over the top. So
Yep.
that's why we have the super small stretch goal for tomorrow night, because we're still trying to do Diana's thing. And these
I
wonderful people.
can't believe that happened. It was a contest between
Oh,
Chris and I'm like, okay, I can do this. I can do this. And I did. I brought in some, and I know there are a few more people out there that said they wanted to back it. They just
Look,
haven't.
she had it down to like, I think it was $68 or somewhere around there.
Yeah.
And we came home from work today and we were like, okay, what happened? And we looked and it was another New Hampshire guy. I was like, New Hampshire, baby. New Hampshire's got it.
I know.
so the new one for tomorrow night is if you get to $1,105, which is what, about $80 away.
Yep. If you scroll down, I should have a.
He's
Oh, I can't see the screen.
yeah. Oh, we're right at the Captain Aura keychain there.
There it is.
Yep,
I see it now.
It almost looks like a clock. Sketch says,
Yes.
I backed the awesome deal for all 4 digital and left a tip. Still feels like I'm the only one taking you for more than I paid. Oh, so did you just did you just do that, Sketch, or did you do that earlier?
Oh, he did that a while. He came in. I think I don't remember. I think maybe RJ's stream. It came in through one of the streams. I don't know if it was our stream or whatever. But we want the Great Cyclopean story to get out there because it is a good story. It is a really cool story, and the more readers that will, go through it, take the time, and give us feedback. Leave a comment on our website or email us, and say, hey, this was a great story, or you know what, I think the plot could be a little bit better, or the character could use some more work, or whatever it might
Can I
be.
add something?
Sure.
I want to add something very specific, and that is, first of all, thank you, Sketchbook. Sketchbook is an awesome artist, so
Yeah.
if you're looking at it and you want to share any critique or advice, I am always open to you, brother. I love your work.
Yeah, well, he did the cover for the Canadian Shield Remastered, number 1. I'm not sure.
Nice. I didn't know it was him.
Yeah, he did that. I'm not sure whether you've seen that yet or not.
I have, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Have you, Diana?
I believe so. You must have shown it on the show, right?
No.
I'm not sure.
I saw it on Twitter, I think.
Yeah. Here, give me half a second. I know where they are, so.
I'm going to count it really slow. Ready? 1,000. Hey, he made it. That was half a second. I didn't say 1,001. Oh, wait. This is more delay. I got to continue. But seriously, though, honey, if you don't know who Sketchbook is, I'll have to show you his work. Oh, do you? Because he's phenomenal.
He's a very good artist. I know.
Okay, so I am back. Here. I'm not sure how well you guys are going to be able to see it because I'm small on the screen, but
Are you going to show it on YouTube?
Yeah, well,
you are small. How do I make it bigger?
Well, you could click me in Discord. You could click me, and that'll spotlight me on your end.
All right, that's what I'm going to do.
And although you'll see everything that I've got there, but still, it'll make me slightly bigger for you. And there
it is. There it is.
Yeah. So, yeah.
How cool is that?
Yeah, Sketchbook did that all by hand. Traditional. So
traditional.
Yeah. So, probably on my next campaign, I'm going to be offering the artwork for that. You got
I guess he does. He's showing it.
Yeah. Well, I got more than the proof. I got them all printed up. I got 100 of them printed up. I've gave one away to my church to put in their library, and I've sold 2 so far. I think it is. The tip was for the Blade Runners Sting style paint Chris had on.
Yeah, I'm actually not painted right now, because you can't see it, but I have a little breakout right here. So before the show Saturday, I
Mhm.
used the powder on my face and then I put on the paint because I was experimenting, and
Yeah.
it kind of irritated it, but it made the paint stay wicked, wicked long. So I learned a lesson, but I don't think I used it right. So I'm still learning on some of the applications.
Yeah.
But the paint held up relatively well, except for the white. We've decided I'll ditch the white face,
Mhm.
and only use a white stripe of some sort because the white is just terrifies the kids. One thing we did was we were in a kids section this show, and I didn't like it at first, and then I loved it because Diana had tons of success. But but I noticed that the kids were kind of looking at me funny, and I finally asked. I said, "Kids, is this scary?" And they were like,
Yeah.
"Ooh," and I'm like, "Okay."
Yeah.
I was like, "Stop trying to look like a rock guy." I didn't look like a rocker.
Cool. Sketch says, "Don't be modest, Chris. You're 10 times better than I am." And then I answered this already. You got the proof already, Rick? And he says, "Dude, I'm in a church library. Wow, awesome." Well, it's a very small church. It's a very small church, so the library is very small. But not.
But
It's not
that's
like people are checking stuff every week. But yeah, you're there.
Yeah, they will be now that that's in there, brother. Yeah, so that is a facsimile, but basically it's going to be. I want it to be rubber. It might be acrylic. I'm not sure which one they
Yeah.
sell, but I'm going to buy one of those. It's a novelty, and it
Yeah.
was it's just to give us. I don't know. We've never had this many stretch goals. Like
Yeah.
I've never had.
Well,
So I'm like, all right,
I've had that many stretch goals. I've never made that many stretch goals.
yeah. And
Uh,
it gets a little more difficult because you don't want to give them crap. But
yeah.
you can't go crazy like wouldn't it be great if I could tell everybody, okay, if we hit $1,000, I'll get them all a Chevy with the logo on the side of it. No, you can't buy a Chevy. That's like $20,000 for you can't go too crazy.
Sketchbook says, "I'm just happy. Don't kill my high, Rick." Okay. No, well, on my first campaign, like I put a bunch of different ones that I was hoping I'd get to, but I didn't. Like at 25,000, I think I said, everybody would get issue 2 of the Canadian Shield.
Right.
You know, because at that point I knew I'd have enough to pay somebody to do it and hopefully get it done in, like a month or two at best. And then, I'd have to, like send out another round of shipping stuff. But, I figured, but that was, like $10,000 from my one before or something like that. I forget what all of my marks, but.
Yeah,
So
see, I've been really lucky. Oh, go ahead, Diana.
I'm sorry. So my dog is being delivered momentarily, and I'm going to run out and grab her from daycare.
Okay.
And so is like she will be here in a few minutes.
Yeah, no problem. We'll
I
just.
just want to know if I scoot out. That is why. If you see me go silent,
Okay.
just have.
Okay, well, I might not see you because I'm, I've got the campaign up in front of me. I can't see what's going
Okay.
on in Discord. I'm not even sure whether you guys are being seen because sometimes when I don't have it on the Discord, it likes to go black for what's being shown from that.
Actually, what's on YouTube right now is Diana, you, and I have a black screen,
Ah,
and we have the campaign screen above us.
yeah,
Right.
and that's the most important thing, really, though, at the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, so up next is some artwork for the variant cover. This is the variant cover, right? This isn't the main cover.
Right.
Yes, and what's surprising is I normally would not have used that as a cover, but it was requested. So I was like, all right, I'll do it.
Cool.
And you'll notice, how many did this one sell? I think it had 10 or...
Yeah.
14.
Well, that's the thing is, in my opinion, anyways, the first cover of a series, yeah, I should feature the main character or main characters. But then I think you should be at least having the villain or whatever on, either the villain by himself or the villain with the hero. You know.
Mhm.
I guess I should say something here. Remember, just because he's fighting Cyclopean doesn't mean he's a villain.
Or the is it the
Oh,
antagonist?
oh,
Yeah, true. As you said, he's supposed to be another hero, but the foe of the issue. Maybe he's not a villain per se, but he's the one the Canadian no, Cyclopean has to fight.
oh! That beep was beautiful. It was like it was keeping secrets from you. Like it was beeping out you before you said the wrong things, but you didn't say the wrong things. But it was like,
Yeah.
all right.
Well, I think it would be the antagonist, or is it
Yeah,
the protagonist?
I think it's the antagonist.
The hero's the
Without a doubt,
protagonist.
he and Cyclopean are not enemies. They're just in a scuffle, and I say that because yeah, he's very important to Peter. Peter is Cyclopean's real name. They've been together almost a year, and for Peter, that's a wicked long time. You know, like he hasn't been able to maintain friendships or anything like that in the situation he's been in. This guy's it. This guy is like his bud.
Yeah. Now, not to be a pain, Chris, but the gauntlet or bracelet or whatever you want to call it that's on the arm that's further away from us, is that on there correctly? Because it looks like you should be able to see it, a little bit of it past the thumb, and it looks like it's.
I don't know. I'm not wearing it, so I assume he put it on correctly.
Well, I'm assuming you put it on correctly or not on him.
No, I have to look at it. I'm sure it's
well,
absolutely sure it's correct though.
The one right here, you can take a look at it. I don't leave it to me to play because it looks like it's
I'm actually
going
going to
into
look at it.
It looks like it's.
I'm looking at the actual artwork. No, that's the way I want it. I know it looks weird. That's right.
Okay.
Because what's happening is he's got the curve of his palm of his fist.
Yeah, but it looks like
the
it's
curve
going
underneath that.
Yeah, I get that. It looks like it's really going into it where I wouldn't think it would.
Yeah.
But that's, just.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. That's what I wanted. That's right. I'm looking at it. It looks even more dramatic in high res. That's fine.
Okay.
But yeah, where were we?
Well, we're going through some of the artwork here, and then you've got this thing about new developments. What's this all about?
Oh well, you know what? That's more of a meme than anything. That was when they were doing the Senate hearings a couple of weeks ago when the campaign was starting, and so they kept putting. They kept saying we're going to bring this. We can't say this in public. We have to say it in a skiff, and a skiff is like a completely electronic protected secret room where you can talk about anything and nobody can hear you. So Cyclopean was sent to a skiff to testify today.
Okay. So that's good. And then we got, I guess, an advertisement for all the books here. Yeah,
that's actually the same. It's in the book too. The scan takes you to Hero Shack, but basically it's a nice little collection collage of the covers. They're already appearing on the right, anyways. But
yeah, and I guess there's nothing below that for artwork. No, so
no, not particularly.
We'll go up.
I don't think I flooded it.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll go up and take a quick look through the rewards. They're called rewards on here, not tiers, not perks. The rewards.
I know. Rewards.
Actually, they're called rewards now on Kickstarter too.
Are they?
Yeah, I went to try and do a campaign for the Canadian Shield Remastered, but I decided since I was printing some up myself, 100 up, I didn't want to do a campaign that way with me having printed because, for me, campaigns are about getting the money to print up and all that,
Right.
See, that's funny because for me, campaign is all about promotion. Like, I don't even see it like because it's all on demand for us.
Yeah.
Just another way to say, hey, the book is open. Let's try to meet this goal and get it out there.
Yeah, well, it's about that too. But like, if you have the money to quote unquote print them up, and you're going to be printing them up before the campaign itself, like I printed them
Right.
up, because I got a bunch of cons coming up. I wanted some issues.
Exactly, and that makes sense. Yeah.
So at that point, I didn't feel right about going over there and charging like maybe $10 or whatever, even the $5 for the campaign. I didn't really feel right about doing that on a campaign, because it's supposed to be the printing costs, right?
Yep.
Plus the shipping, So I figured I'm printing them myself. Oh well, I'll get my money back slowly through selling them. And now that they're available on my whatchamacallit webpage, so too for people to buy. But anyways, okay. So up first we have the $5 campaign of the Great Cyclopedia number 5 PDF, which is actually all 5 issues, not just the one.
Right.
Yeah, we expanded that because we realized the guy didn't want just one; he wanted all 5. And I was like, well, I don't want to charge more for those. Many of the early stuff you can find on Webtoons. But I'm not against sharing that. It's like, oh, if you want it, sure. We'll put that in there for you.
Yeah.
That's not to say 5 is on Webtoons at this point, but
Yeah.
I feel like it's another great way to get the story out there.
Yeah.
Because we want to build our reader base, and what way to do that to make it affordable for people that may buy the physical copy if they really like the story. So
Yeah, for sure. So that's $5. That's a great deal. That's like $1 an issue. So you really can't go wrong for that.
Nope.
And then of course,
and it's a really good answer for someone just wanting to throw money at it. If you want to make a donation and you want to have something,
right?
Yeah. And these are downloadable, so they can even share them too that way. Hopefully, yeah. Well, yes and no. You want them to share them, but not share them so people are interested in buying, a set for themselves or whatever.
Right.
And then, of course, we have the physical copy for $15 plus shipping. If I can get my mouth to work right. For issue 5, just 5, of course. And this is 24 pages.
Right.
So that's good. And it's full color. That's so how good is shipping or bad? Is shipping price wise, to the States, say Canada?
Canada is always more expensive, unfortunately. Canada kills it. It's unfortunate, but it does. You know what I mean? It really is, and we can't help it. But
yeah,
I know. For issue 6, I want to try to find a way to make it shipping included, and I might be able to figure out a way to do that with America. I don't know how we're going to do it outside continental America. Anytime something goes over the border, they're like, okay, that'd be another $15 on the side.
Yeah.
That's not a Canadian accent, but I can't do any other accents.
Yeah. Well,
what you talking about?
Off air, we might talk about that because I recently got something from somebody that, although it was a little bit pathetic in the shipping, in my opinion, but they only paid like $3 and change.
Wow.
and
some guy named George. Did some guy named George in a Pontiac from Michigan show up? Boom, boom, boom. Hey, Rick, this is your book.
No. And it was sent from Kentucky, so.
Wow.
That's crazy.
3 something?
Yeah, 3 and change. I got rid of the packaging now, but I did notice what it cost.
Yeah, but 3 and change is incredible.
right?
Yeah.
My goodness, somebody's got themselves an expressway to Canada.
Yeah.
There you go.
There's an underground shipping company now.
Well, like I said, also it wasn't the greatest shipping. It was like just in an envelope, like a paper envelope. You know, like a bigger size paper envelope because you can't fit it in. It's like something that you'd probably put a regular letter in after you fold it.
Right. Right.
But it got there.
Yeah, and it could have probably easily got damaged. But that made it lighter weight and all that sort of stuff. I'm not sure of all the particulars that he did. Like I said, we can probably talk more about that off air if you guys want.
Yeah.
So up next, of course, is the alternate cover for $15. Like 5.2. Wouldn't that be 5.1?
No, because I'm actually counting 5 as 5.1, even though you wouldn't know it. There was a proof for the cover that I actually had to change because of Amazon, so I actually count that as 5.1 in my head, even though it's not listed on the cover.
Because these things, I don't take any, like, he labels, he has a very unique way of labeling stuff.
Well, the first edition, Cyclopean's Hand, was actually over the title, and the way that Amazon prints, they would not let me have it over the title. They said I was obscuring the title. So I actually had to change it, so that was 5.1. Yeah.
But it's not. It's 5.1 for
me, not for public, because the public only got that one.
Right, that's what Rick is saying. Like,
yeah,
right.
Look for. Is there another title? Is there like what? But
There's always going to be something weird with me.
Normally, I wouldn't even put the 0.2. I'd just put, it's the Great Cyclopean 5, Captain Aura variant.
Right.
No, I just wanted to be completely different. Like, I broke all the conventions of my typical layout. And...
Yeah.
Hard. Yeah. It's so funny. I love it.
And then $20 for the T-shirt. Do you get a copy of the book with that, or just the T-shirt?
That is just the T-shirt, I believe.
Okay. Yep. And just the one design, or is there several designs?
Yeah, this time just the one design. If you go to the website, we do have other designs. Actually, I don't think the store is up right now, but we'll have that back soon. Or you can come to our shows. Whenever we're at a convention, we sell all the designs. But, we have an assortment of different poses, different characters. We keep talking about doing novelty ones, but we haven't done that yet.
Right.
Yeah. And then, $25 for the Great Cyclopean Metal Collector Card Set #1.
Yes, my favorite thing in the whole rewards part.
I guess with this, again, it's just the cards, no book with it.
Right.
Uh-huh. Well, the great thing about this site is you could choose each one separately, and they all go together.
Yep.
So that's...
Well, I'm excited because this is like my first time saying this is an official set.
Yeah.
The next set will be 10 different ones, and we've already done quite a few of these, so now we're getting like a nice collection of cards out there, like throughout New England, and hopefully we can spread them throughout the world.
Although you're probably too late, or I'm not sure, you should actually put a number on each one of these. This is card 1, this is card 2, this is card 3 of the set.
Maybe. I mean, we did it with these, but eventually we could. I kind of like leaving it obscure. Like, Diana wants me to add a Hero Shack logo to it. And now that they do two-sided printing, I think I will. They don't want to obscure the artwork. Like, I kind of like just having the artwork be the only way. Like, when Diana asked me, which one is it? She has to actually have to say, like, well, it's Cyclopean swimming towards the oil rig. Like, we don't even have titles. We have to define it by what it looks like. It's so weird.
Yeah. Well, that's if you're getting these up on your website, too, you might want to grab a title, put a title for them ordering. That way, when they order it, you know which one it is.
No, I'm going to keep it exactly like it is, as obscure as I can make it.
Well, no. I don't mean put a title on the card itself. I just mean below the card. So,
right, when you read it on the site, so you can order, I'd like Great Cyclopean, but it's number one or
No,
whatever.
I want to put a microphone under it, right? And I want to have them click order with the microphone, and when they click it, they have to go. It's the one that looks like the guy is running, and he's going from left to right.
He's just talking now. He's doing this because he's trying to get me and you both worked up. That will not happen on my watch.
Okay, and then up next is a $50 tier, which again is all 5 books physical, which a pretty good price. That puts them at $10 each.
Yeah.
So that's pretty good. And
the next tier is my favorite, I believe.
yes, number 5 or $50 one, the Great Cyclopean with number 5 with Cyclopean Scent. Cyclopean Scent. Are you meaning this book smells?
Yes.
Yes.
Now, does it smell good or does it smell bad?
Well, I've smelled it, and I think it's okay. I mean, it's a matter of opinion. Some people might find it pleasurable. Some people might find disdain. I mean, does broccoli smell good to everybody? Does steak smell good to everybody? Like, depends on the person.
So does he smell like mussels and oil or whatever? Sweat?
Honey, how would you describe it?
I think it depends on the person's olfactory system.
So basically, you're saying you're not going to tell us right now. You got to get it and find out for yourself.
Exactly, because every person's smell is a little different. I might smell something that smells like a strawberry. It's not a strawberry, but I might smell like it's more. So, yeah, it's just, this is something that Chris wanted to do to be different. He likes to be different. And so that's what we have,
And I wanted, so this is actually inspired by Andrew Tate in a sense.
Yeah.
Because he came out with a $100 comic book, and I said, honey, I want to have something outrageous like Andrew Tate. So my initial idea was this was going to be the $100 smell book. And she said, that will never sell. And I'm like, all right, $50. And she's like, maybe 25. And I'm like, all right, 50 it is. And so
I
think we sold 1 or 2.
One. And hello, Aqua.
1, okay.
Okay, so I know how you're going to answer this because I've already asked it to you on a different program. I think yours before. How do you get the scent in? Is this like scratch and sniff, or is it some other way? And how do you?
The process is called infusion.
It's an infusion.
It's called infusion, but it's not scratch and sniff.
Okay, and how do you get the scent in it? If you can reveal your secret.
We can't, but maybe off air we can. But like, yeah, we can't. We're kind of, we're not NDA, but they don't want us talking about it.
Ooh, so like there's somebody else involved in doing this.
I can either deny or confirm the following statement.
Kind of like one of those things where people talk about, well, how does Cyclopean eat and drink? It's like, us, and maybe someday we'll reveal it. Maybe we won't. But
I have to tell everybody, by issue 12, we will have it revealed. That's part of the storyline.
Ooh. You do.
Yes.
Yeah. In some ways, you probably should have kept on to that longer. Like the Wolverine thing, yeah, his history and all that, or other characters like that. Keep the mystery up for years and years and years.
Well, remember, issue 6 is still being developed, so I have a 12-issue arc. I could always write it out.
Yeah, it's up to you, of course. But keep people guessing.
Well, it is important to the storyline, so I might let that one go. We'll see.
Yeah.
That's not his only great secret,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And of course,
there's another one.
$60 reward, the ultimate bundle.
Yes.
And it looks like with this one, you get a number, in issue 5, you get the 10 cards and this T-shirt.
Yep.
The number hole T-shirt. That's what I call it.
Yeah. Wait, you should actually have one more beyond this.
Well,
Where
we don't.
no, I was just gonna. Although it's too late for this at this point, I was just gonna suggest an ultimate bundle. Everything that's there except for one thing. Have the scented one in instead of the regular one.
Well, we do still have 24 hours, and we do have crazy people.
And we need to
could do that.
We need to talk about that. We don't have 24 hours.
Well, yeah, we do.
No, we have 6 hours left.
It doesn't end tonight.
Yeah, it says 6 hours to go on the campaign.
It's no way.
Okay.
Let me see that. Let me go look, because it should be.
I have to. The dog just rang, so she got to go take.
I heard her. I heard her.
Let's see.
Just got. So you
Maybe
guys,
you're right. You might be right.
No, it says
six
it.
That'd be
hours.
cool.
Okay,
6 hours.
Because it says 1 day to go for my side. Looking at the page.
Mine
here.
too.
And it says ends.
Mine says ends
the 23rd,
August 23rd
at 9 p.m. Pacific.
Yep. So tonight at 9 p.m. it's August 22nd. It doesn't end tonight, babe.
Well,
I'll explain it to her. I think she had to go for the dog.
Yeah.
I wonder what she's seeing. That's funny.
Yeah.
Yes, that's fine. That's okay. She's cool.
Yeah.
She's confused.
So yeah, this looks like a great campaign. I have already contributed it myself. I just donated $15 for an issue, but I'm not sure which one.
Explain that one.
And of course,
it's because
I'm in Canada. I didn't want to pay the shipping, and I'm going to be down there in about a month. So,
now see, I want to talk to Luke.
2 months.
I want to talk to Luke about whether or not it is permissible to do that. Like, because of the nature of our campaign, and I have the book done before we put it up, if I'm going to a convention, is it ethical and within policy for me to accept a donation with the understanding that they're going to get a book? Like, could I set up a reward for a pickup book? I'm going to be in Connecticut. I'm going to be there all weekend. If you're coming in and you want to order a book online, you can add to our campaign, and we'll have one waiting for you when you get there.
Yeah, well, I would
is
think,
that something they'll allow?
Well, I don't think he's in charge of. I don't think he would allow. I think he would allow it. I can't see no reason for them to say you can't have that.
I think he would allow it too, but I want to confirm because I just want to be straight with him if I'm going to try something experimental. But that can be a lot of fun, like a way to help your campaign. I can't tell you how many times I see people that are like, yeah, we were coming to the show, we knew you'd be here, and those are the ones that shock you. Like, wait till you get Canadian Shield people doing that, you're going to be blown. And we're like, what?
Cross Comics people, yeah.
Yep.
But yeah, I can't see no reason. Well, you've got it done, but you haven't got it printed yet, right? Number 5.
Oh no, we've got it printed. Now we haven't had the alternative cover printed yet, but we have the proof out, and it's come back, and all we have to do is order it. But yeah, I had a bunch of issue 5s printed already. I've handed out a few of them to close friends, or just to have them go over it and just to get some response. Some
but
marketing.
You haven't been selling them yet, right?
No.
Well, see that there's. I don't think there's any problem with that. You're just you had the money to have them printed, so I think you're giving them out. So giving them out is different, and it's not
promotional.
Yeah, and it's not.
I would be very apt.
Go ahead.
I was going to say I would be very open to sending previews to shows before I went there.
Yeah.
if that was something they wanted to do, I would send like issue 5 to somebody as a PDF if we were going to be on a show talking about the book in depth, you know?
Yeah. And it's not like you're, having it printed and, you're selling it to, letting Walmart have it to sell and not giving it to your backers for like 2 or 3 years.
Well, and, like I'm not late. Yeah, like oh yeah, those guys were. Actually, though, to be honest, if we were selling through Walmart, I really wouldn't be doing a crowdfunder. I guess that came after he started the crowdfunder, though, right?
Yeah, it did. But still, it's like, if you've got that and you've got the money, you've gotten the money or whatever to, print up to just to give to them, you should have the extra couple hundred or thousand, to send out to your customers. Put out the money to give it to your backers physically. Put out the extra thousand.
Well, I'm sure you're aware. I've always butted heads with the biggest creators who like take the longest.
Yeah, well,
I love them. They do what they do, but
it was one thing. Like EVS being late and all that. Yeah, sure, I didn't like that. But I can almost excuse that a little easier than what Mitch did. He got a deal with Walmart and cut the book up into like 3 or 4 pieces and put it out to there, and then left his backers hanging for like 3 years.
Yeah, that's true. And the thing with EBS is it's all perspective. When I finally decided I didn't really mind him, because I don't really mind how long he takes. It's all in how you understand EBS.
Yeah. Well,
he's not sitting there when he's going to be late, and he knows he's going to be late. He just is. He'll tell everybody, "Well, I'm still working on it. We got X amount of pages done.
Yeah.
Hang in there. Thank you for your patience." And his majority of his backers seem okay with it. So
yeah,
I just take it. He's not late.
Well, if he says he's going to be delivering it most likely on a certain date and he's past it, he's late. Like I've been late on books.
Do you believe that date when you see it? When you see EBS launch a book, if it says says I'm launching and I will have this delivered by 4/25, May 25th or May 2025, in my head I'm going, that's not coming out till 26.
Or later. Well,
just because it's EBS.
Well, with the first campaign, I did. Now, no.
Yeah. And I'll be honest.
I haven't backed any of the other campaigns. Half because of that, and half just because what it costs and all that. I'm not wanting to.
I have to be honest. I backed one of his books.
Yeah, I backed the first
one. And I'm waiting still.
Yeah, I waited like over a year after the day it said that it was or the month it said it was supposed to be out. And yeah, and it wasn't the greatest in my opinion.
Right. So between you and me and whoever's watching, I backed Rainbow Brutus or Rainbow Brute or whatever it was.
Rainbow Brute. Right.
I decided to do that one because it's a one shot, and I was like, I've never bought an EBS book.
Yeah.
Cyberfrog, I don't really want to mess with because I don't want to have an opinion on it. I'm like, okay, great, he's got his thing. So Brute seems like the way to go.
Yeah.
I believe it's late, but I'm not even looking. I'm like,
oh yeah, it's
CBS.
Late.
I'll get it when I get it. Yeah, I figured.
I don't even know when it was supposed to be delivered, and I know it's late.
See, I don't even.
And probably at least a year. The thing is, he did this campaign like a year ago, and he's been working on Cyberfrog, instead of Rainbow Brute. He's doing like a third campaign. He's doing like a campaign for the third Cyberfrog book, from what I know. Or about gearing up to. It's like, how about you get Rainbow Brute out first?
But isn't that part of the comedy? It's like, so I back this thing, and I do not cancel backings unless it's like something terrible, like you find out the book is being printed in goat's blood, then I'm like, wait a minute, I might want to rethink this.
Yeah.
But like I've never bounced out of a campaign, no
Yeah.
matter how aggravated I've gotten.
Yeah. Well,
And so I'm like, I
have, but
won't.
more for financial issues. I needed the money. You know,
That's
money
fair.
was.
That's fair. Like I've never taken anything to, oh well, that guy said this. And if anything, I'm like, now I want to see their book. If they piss me off, I'm like, now I want to see what you did, so I can know if you even were worth reading your comic. By golly,
Yeah. Yeah. And
I'm sorry, I'm
unfortunately,
going on a rant.
well, I don't care. Unfortunately, these big guys, they don't offer the digital either. So, and I think that's a
I
big
do
shame.
love them for that in a way because, dude, I wish that we had a market where everybody, bought the book and checked it out. But I also know the real world, and the fact is, even if they don't offer digital, you remember what happened with Islam with me?
Yeah,
Islam?
Iceland. Yeah,
I went looking and found it online. I read the whole thing as a PDF, and I wrote Eric trying to find out how I could send
Yeah.
him money directly for reading it.
yeah,
And then he put it on special, so I bought it for $12.50.
yeah. Now I'm not one against getting comics that way. I've got a bunch of old DC type stuff that way. And I was for years getting stuff that way as it was coming out week to week because I couldn't afford to go to the comic shop and buy it. But
Right.
I'm not gonna for ISOM or whatever. Although the guy's got lots of money, I'm not gonna go grab issue 2 or whatever that way. It's just I don't know. I'd grab DC or Marvel stuff that way still, but or some of the bigger names.
I'll be honest. I was stunned. I was looking just to see, like, I figured I'd see panels that people had posted, and I was stunned to see that it was actually out there. I was like, wow. And I mean, it was a quality scan.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. Somebody probably bought it and, took it apart, scanned it, or just scanned it or whatever.
Oh, yeah, somebody had to have bought it.
Well, I could see somebody easily doing that, So it's like, okay, fine. But for me, I don't know, because these guys are really indie, although they're making really big bucks on it, I'm not going to go look for a PDF of it just to read it, It's not worth my time. I'm not that much into
Oh, it's funny because I was becoming extremely curious because they were pointing out all these weird things with it. And when I read the book in its entirety, like I said, I didn't hate it. I kind of liked it. It wasn't bad.
Yeah,
great.
Yeah, it wasn't great, but it wasn't bad, as I said, it wasn't really a first issue. This character's the first time anybody's ever seeing it, so, I think the way where he dove into the middle of this guy's story, it's not like and the character's supposed to be coming back after a long hiatus, and not meaning to come back either. So it's like that doesn't, like Cyberfrog was sort of the same way. But Cyberfrog was out there beforehand. Everybody, well, not everybody, but a lot of people knew about the character, Like Isom, nobody's known about. It's like you're bringing a character out of retirement that's your main character that you're focusing on that nobody's ever heard of before. It's not.
I gotta be honest.
Not a great way to.
That didn't bother me. Like that didn't bother me so much, but I feel like it was just because, like, I think with the story, if it's hard for me to explain, but like, if you get it, you get it. If you don't, you don't. It's not written particularly in a well way that everybody will get it. Like when I was reading it, I had a really good sense of what was happening, and I didn't even notice like half of the things that they pointed out. And then once they pointed them out, of course, everything starts jumping out.
Yeah,
I'm like, oh my goodness! Like I'm waiting on this physical copy, and I don't want to open it because I know. Oh no!
Yeah.
Some of the stuff.
Yeah.
No.
I didn't listen to any of that. I'm not sure whether I noticed, or would notice. And, like you said, it's a half decent story. Yeah, you can nitpick at it till you're blue in the face. We do that with DC and Marvel. There's good reason to. Isom is his first book. Is it better than DC or Marvel is right now? Probably. I haven't read too much DC or Marvel lately, so I'm not sure whether I can answer that honestly.
I made it through Isom without throwing down the book and saying, "Oh my gosh." Last handful of Marvels I've read, I haven't made it through the whole book. There was somebody grandstanding, speech, social justice, whatever.
Yeah.
And I can't get through it. Like, the second a superhero stands up and starts, "Are you degrading people of lesser value above your privilege?" I'm like, okay, wait a minute. This is a superhero book. I want you to hit him. I don't want you guys talking about feelings right now. It's supposed to be a fight. What are you doing preaching psychology?
Or if you want to preach, at least fight while you're preaching.
Right, come on. I need to see a little bit of Claws Wolverine. Stop tampering with Cyclops in the corner over Jean. Ah! Sorry, I'm just letting out some...
Yeah, I get it. We both know the state of comic books nowadays, so...
they're wonderful. The only problem with comics right now is that nobody wants to read them.
And it sounds like Diana is back.
I am back. I had to feed the dog. So I just wanted to point out, because we were talking about when the campaign ends. Remember, the campaign is on PM time.
Yeah.
So look, if you watch
Pacific time.
our campaign manager page, it does say 6 hours. So if it's 9 p.m. Pacific time, that means it's 3 p.m. our time, right? Because it's a 6 hour.
No. Well, it would be, if it's 9 p.m., it would be midnight your time. But it's for, like, on the campaign page, if you look on the campaign page, it says August 23rd at 9 p.m. Pacific time.
So they're before us, so it's midnight, right?
No, they're
Tomorrow.
no. They're the West Coast is at 3 o'clock, 3:37.
Okay.
All right, Diana, I'm logged in. Where are you seeing it on our management page? What tab?
If you go to the campaign manager page tab.
Okay. Yeah. And then there's like basic details, rewards, profile.
Yeah, then it says campaign management. It has edit, pause, management, manage updates, transaction, extend campaign. It says 6 hours to go.
All right, hang on, let me see. No, it says 5 hours, but that can't be right. I wonder why it says it like that. But if it ends, it ends. That's fine.
Huh?
Tomorrow if it ends, it ends. We'll celebrate tomorrow.
Right. Yep.
I don't want to extend it. How many campaigns can you have going at once?
I think you're only allowed one.
Yeah, so I don't want to extend it. I want to move on to the next one.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, it's going to be how long till you do the campaign for number 6?
Well, yeah, or are we going to launch Trolls with the Halloween anticipation and then launch 6, right?
Yeah.
Trolls is done. I don't have to do much. Maybe a pin-up as a perk or something,
Mm-hmm. I don't know.
Maybe I'll draw an 11/17 extravaganza on the next Rick stream.
Yeah. But,
So, yeah, this is weird, Rick. It definitely says 5 hours to go on the management, and it definitely says tomorrow on the front page, on our public-facing page. So it'll be interesting to see. I'm going to trust the public page, though, because I know when we launched it. Didn't we launch it on a Wednesday night? And I had to wait up after our stream till midnight?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm anticipating the same thing. I could be wrong, but 3 weeks later it should be Wednesday.
I don't know.
Should be.
Yeah, because of it saying 9 p.m., that's the real thing that gets me. It doesn't say, like... and it says it on the 23rd because this is obviously the 22nd. You know,
Mhm.
Yeah.
it's not like it says the 22nd at 9 p.m.
Because I remember literally shooting for tomorrow night, but she's right. The manager side is weird. So we'll see. We'll see which one is
That's
real.
all I'm saying.
Either way, if this is it tonight, I
Yeah.
am so proud and happy of the
Yeah.
people.
But
It's exciting.
I was gonna say, if you don't know when you're doing your next campaign, you could, keep this up till get a couple extra bucks off of it till you do your next campaign, or you're ready to set it up.
I don't know. We'll talk
Yeah.
about it, but
Yeah, it's obviously up to you guys. It's only a mere suggestion on my part.
and I feel bad. I didn't do an update between
August 15th and tonight. That's like a week.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's a week.
Yeah. So let's see. Let's go back to just us. Okay, so it's let's see. Well, so we're like about 40 minutes over that I've normally been doing these. With that, any last thing that you guys want to say or whatever for the people listening that to try and get them to back?
absolutely. So we are hungry and gonna eat dinner, but we would love
For you to join us.
symbolically. Hey, walking with Cyclopean. $5 gets you in the door. It's cheap and easy, or you can splurge and treat yourself. The luxurious
go.
comic book.
There you go.
Absolutely. Diana, do you want to add anything, babe?
No, we'll be streaming tomorrow night on our YouTube channel, Hero Shack, at 9 p.m. If you want to come in at 8:30 and watch Chris's sizzle reels with a bunch of really cool artists and other comics, then please do. I think we have a stretch goal for tonight or until the campaign ends. If we make it, awesome.
It's either going to end tonight or it's
Yep.
going to end tomorrow night. And if it ends tomorrow night, we're going to have a show about it.
Right.
If it ends tonight, we're going to just not have a show about the end tomorrow night.
Right.
So yeah. Well, you'll have a show not about it, but not about the ending of it.
Yeah, not a live countdown.
If it's still going tomorrow, the intent is to have a countdown to midnight, and
Yeah.
we've contacted New York Square, Times Square, and I'm talking to them about dropping the ball.
Yeah, but see the
They haven't
thing
answered though.
the problem is you don't want to drop the ball on a campaign.
We're not going to.
But I want to drop one on. I want to drop the New Year's Eve ball to celebrate.
Okay, so
campaign.
I'm getting ready to buzz out because I have things I have to do.
Yeah. Okay, so again, thank you guys for coming on.
Thank you, Rick.
Well, I'm going to be doing a stream in another few hours here at 10 our time. So again, of course, you guys are more than welcome to come on if you're up.
What's it called, Rick?
The chill stream. We'll just be there talking about this, that, whatever. And of course, you could, throw in a thing about Cyclopean 5 at any point if you wanted to.
Wait a minute. It's not after dark.
No, it's just the chill stream. It's Tuesday night.
Okay, I got it.
Well, Rick, thank you again for having us. Thank you guys for watching. And I'm going to say peace out and
Yeah.
skadoodle.
Okay, so later all. God